Welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Leo brings Jude's christening to halt with commodity veritably important to say. In a short V-neck dress, Nicole strolls into the DiMera living room filled with blue and white balloons. She finds a suit sheath EJ, who's detracted by Stefan's legal straits. Still, he'll rally for the christening. Holly sulks in, wearing her mask and pajamas. Nicole wonders why she's not dressed for the christening yet. Holly sighs that she doesn't have the energy for it. Nicole talks her into it, but Holly says she'll meet them there. Wearing her mask, Holly pouts at a formally dressed Nicole and EJ. Wearing a bright pink suit with a helical pattern, Leo runs into Melinda in the square. She tries to bypass him, but he stops her to bandy the christening. Melinda can't believe he thinks he's going. He expounds on the ways he's connected to Jude. Melinda orders him to keep his mouth shut if he wants to keep the life he's overgrown habituated to, the outside of captivity life. They blast at each other before Melinda goes to check on Sloane. Further, the plot point Tate's portrayer baffled at in the square, Melinda yells at Leo while poking his casket. He scrunches his face at her wearing a suit vest over his white shirt and tie. Eric eagerly anticipates the christening. In a short serape dress, Sloane, temporarily played by Natasha Hall, says she doesn't know how to feel about Nicole hosting the party. All she can suppose about is how Nicole abducted Jude. Latterly, she apologizes to Eric for being a bummer and vows to take the high road. Sloane holds out Jude's christening gown as she and Eric respect it. Eating breakfast at the cantina, Teresa and Brady joke about him being the godfather. Brady does his stylish Marlon Brando print and Teresa suggests she bring some cannolis to the christening. She calls Tate to tell him of her plans to visit after the service. When he asks about Holly, she urges him to suppose about Academy rather of the girl who got him into this mess. After Roman and Kate stop by their table, Roman gives Brady a vim talk about Tate and his parenthood chops. Roman latterly gets a call that his delivery motorist, who was on his way to the DiMeras with food for the party, was in an auto wreck. Kate offers to take care of it and shoos Brady and Roman out to the christening. Further, another sin for Sloane to answer for in their townhouse, Marlena helps John with his suit tie. Wearing a sparkly suit herself, she suggests they take a trip to Hawaii. John growls that he can't run down from the fact that he killed an innocent youthful woman. She reminds him they can't be sure he did it. Beating himself up isn't okay, and it's indeed hurting her. That's the last thing John wants. She knows that because he's a good and decent man. Marlena tells him to forgive himself, but he doesn't know if he can do that. She urges him to put aside his guilt for one day and concentrate on the joy of the new life they re-celebrating. John will do it for her. At the church, Leo meets the clerk who declares everyone their moment will bear responsibility for Jude's spiritual growth. Alone, Leo muses that he's good and kind, but honest? Not so important. He cautiously dips his cutlet into holy water and hurries down. Further reconsidering defunct cleaner, the city at her apartment, Sloane hypercritically gazes at Jude's crib. Melinda bends over it with a soft smile. Watch Days on Peacock $5.99 by now. After Melinda comes to the apartment, Eric goes over her duties and also goes to call Sammy. Alone with her co-conspirator, Sloane worries about how she'll get through this. Melinda says she'll because she has to, but she does worry about Leo and Nicole being in the same place together. John and Marlena arrive at the church, surprised to see Leo there. He whimsically expounds on how spiritual he feels before departing. When Brady, Teresa, and Roman show up, Teresa tells the Blacks that she's going to see Tate right after the service. When asked about the after party, she muses it's stylish if she stays clear of EJ and Nicole, who show up. Further, Chicago Med alums confidentially reunion in church. John and Marlena blankly face Leo, who frowns. After Eric, Sloane, Jude, and Melinda arrive, Sloane bristles upon entering Leo's veritably Leo-chatting. John tells Marlena that he's having a tough time in the house of the Lord, especially after seeing the baby. She assures him she'll be there every step of the way. Holly joins the group and asks Brady and Teresa about Tate. Teresa gives a snarky reply, causing the team to retreat to Nicole and EJ's side. As the clerk begins the service, Leo and Nicole both flash back to Nicole giving birth on the roadside. They partake a dimmed look. Leo interrupts. "I've commodity to say. Commodity veritably important. Commodity that can't stay." Shamefaced Leo derails christening, car wreck crisis and Teresa's outburst. Days of Our Lives, DOL, spoilers recap for Thursday, March 28, reveals that Nicole DiMera, Ariane Zucker, and EJ DiMera, Dan Feuerriegel, were surprised when they realized Holly Jonas, Ashley Puzimis, wasn't dressed for Jude Brady's christening form. Holly said she wasn't going, so Nicole wondered if she was upset about facing Teresa Donovan, Emily O'Brien, and Brady Black, Eric Martsolf, since they were going to be at the church. Still, Holly just acted like she didn't have the energy and suggested she wasn't in the mood for that whole vibe. Still, also Nicole claimed she wasn't going either, which meant EJ also wouldn't go, if Holly wasn't going. Holly eventually realized it would fail Eric Brady, Greg Vaughn, so she pledged to get dressed and meet up with Nicole and EJ at the gathering. In the city forecourt, Melinda Trask, Tina Huang, ran into Leo Stark, Greg Rickhart, wearing a flashy suit and allowed. He was overdressed for work at The Spectator. Leo revealed that he was attending Jude's christening as an invited guest, so Melinda fumed and advised him to keep his mouth shut about all the baby-stealing drama. At the townhouse on Thursday's day's occasion, Marlena Evans, Deidre Hall, tried to distract a guilt-ridden John Black, Drake Hodgson, with some talk about a holiday in Hawaii. John could tell what Marlena was doing, but he remained tortured over what he'd done to Katharina, Ellie Patricios. Marlena argued that John couldn't be sure he did anything at all and prompted him to forgive himself. Although John didn't suppose he could do that, he ultimately agreed to put his guilt away for one day since they demanded to support Eric at the christening. At the cantina. On Thursday's DOL show, Teresa had breakfast with Brady before calling Tate Black, Jamie Martin Man, to let him know she'd be stopping by the halfway house after the christening, and also Brady would visit latterly. Tate asked if Holly was going to be there, so Teresa continued to worry about the hold Holly had on him. Roman Brady, Josh Taylor, had a sweet moment with Brady and approved of Eric making him Jude's godfather, so they participated a clinch. Since one of Roman's workers had an auto wreck and couldn't deliver the food to the DiMera mats for the event, Kate Roberts Brady, Lauren Koslow, pledged to take care of the delivery rather. At home on Thursday's day's occasion, Sloane Peterson Brady, temporarily played by Natasha Hall, had another little meltdown over Nicole and the event position, but she ultimately apologized to Eric and moved past it. After Melinda arrived, she gave Sloane a check for Jude's savings regard as a gift. Eric also asked if Melinda would be willing to carry Jude to the front of the church for her sanctioned godmother duties, so she said she'd be recognized. Eric added that Melinda would need to answer many of Father Bernard's, Boise Homes, questions, but he made a vaticination about Melinda crushing it. While Eric was out of the room making a phone call to Sammy Brady, Allison Sweeney, Melinda complained about Leo's assignation and gave Sloane updates on her run heft with him. At St. Luke's on Thursday's day's occasion, Leo arrived a bit early, so Father Bernard wondered if he was there for concession. Leo clarified that he was there for the christening rather, so Father Bernard talked about each person having a responsibility to live as a kind, honest illustration for Jude. That brought some guilt for Leo, but he hid it well as he interacted with John and Marlena compactly. Once the other guests arrived, including Holly, Teresa participated a tense moment with her. Holly asked how Tate was, so Teresa snapped about him wearing an ankle examiner and having a restraining order placed against him. Teresa sarcastically thanked Holly for that, but Brady did his stylish to rein her in. Father Bernard ultimately demurred off the christening of Jude, who was wearing the same gown that Eric wore when he was a baby. At one point, Nicole flashed back to giving birth on the side of the road and looked sad. Leo felt more and more guilt throughout the whole form, so he eventually intruded Father Bernard and apologized for derailing effects. Nonetheless, Leo had commodity veritably important to say, commodity that couldn't stay. Eric looked rather confused over what news Leo was trying to unmask. Sloane shook her head at Leo while Melinda glared at him, too. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Leo will come near to dishing, but the secret about Jude being Nicole's baby will eventually stay under wraps for now.